Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the presentation of the colors by Scouts Brian Rhodes and Connor Booth. Then please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and our national anthem performed by the Festus High School Choir under the direction of Christopher Butler.
Color Guard, attention! Color Guard, advance. Color Guard, pose the colors. Color Guard, retreat.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may all be seated.
When Francis Scott Key wrote the Star-Spangled Banner over 200 years ago, he called America the land of the free and home of the brave. Those words are as true today as they were then. Throughout this nation's history, our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen have bravely answered the call to defend our freedom, to aid our friends and allies, and to turn back aggressors. We can never fully repay our debt of gratitude to the more than 650,000 American service members who died in battle, or the 1.4 million who are wounded. We can, however, recognize and thank the 25 million veterans still living today. Our nation honors her sons and daughters who answered the call to defend a country they never knew and a people they never met. Those words apply equally to many of our veterans of World War I, World War II, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the Gulf War, and the global war on terror in Iraq and Afghanistan. They apply to today's active duty service members, tomorrow's veterans who are helping to maintain peace throughout the world. Today, it is our privilege to say thank you to all American veterans, to let them know that we appreciate them for their service and honor them for their sacrifices. The price of freedom is high. We cannot afford to forget those willing to pay for it. Today, we celebrate our veterans for keeping this nation the land of the free and home of the brave.
In 1921, an unknown World War I American soldier was buried in Arlington National Cemetery. This site occurred earlier in England and France, where an unknown soldier was buried in each nation's highest place of honor. In England, Westminster Abbey; in France, the Arc de Triomphe. These memorial gestures all took place on November 11th, giving universal recognition to the celebrated ending of World War I, fighting at 11 a.m., November 11th, 1918, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. The day became known as Armistice Day. Armistice Day officially received its name in America in 1926 through a congressional resolution. It became a national holiday 12 years later by similar congressional action. If the idealistic hope had been realized that World War I was the war to end all wars, November 11th might still be called Armistice Day. But only a few years later, after the holiday was proclaimed, war broke out in Europe. 16.5 million Americans took part. 407,000 of them died in service, more than 292,000 in battle. The first celebration using the term Veterans Day occurred in Birmingham, Alabama in 1947. Raymond Weeks, a World War II veteran, organized National Veterans Day, which included a parade and other festivities to honor all veterans. The event was held on November 11th, then designated Armistice Day. Later, U.S. Representative Edward Reese of Kansas proposed a bill that would change Armistice Day to Veterans Day. In 1954, Congress passed a bill that President Eisenhower signed, proclaiming November 11th as Veterans Day. Raymond Weeks received the Presidential Citizens Medal from President Reagan in November 1982. Weeks' local parade and ceremonies are now an annual event celebrated nationwide.
Each year, FHS High School sponsors this assembly to honor our local veterans, the men and women who have served our country as members of the United States Armed Forces. Today, we have several veterans from our community in attendance, including FHS faculty and members, and parents or family members of FHS students. These veterans represent all branches of the military, and some have served in conflicts that include World War II, the Korean War, Vietnam, Desert Storm, Iraq, and Afghanistan. All have served our country bravely and selflessly. We thank each of you for your service to our nation and for being our guests today. If you are a veteran, please stand at this time.
For over 200 years, the men and women of our armed services have defended the United States and continue to keep vigilant watch over our great nation. Created in 1775, the Army, Continental Navy, Marines have participated in every war since the American Revolution. Our current Air Force originated in 1907 as the Aeronautical Division of the Army Signal Corps and was later named the Army Air Corps, and finally the United States Air Force after World War II. The Coast Guard originated in 1790 as the Marine and Cutter Service and was renamed the Coast Guard in 1915 by Act of Congress. The debt of gratitude we as a nation owe these brave soldiers cannot be measured. With this tribute and song, let us remember those who have fallen and those who continue to serve. Thank you, veterans, for your service, and we ask that you stand and be recognized when your song is played. Students and teachers, please stand if you have a family member currently serving in the military when their song is played.
Veterans Day, we honor all who answered to a service call. Soldiers young and soldiers old fought for freedom bravely. Some have lived while others died, and all of them deserve our pride. We are proud of all the soldiers who kept thinking of red, white, and blue. They fought for us in all our rights. They fought through many days and nights. And though we may not know each name, we thank all of them in Jesus' name.
On Veterans Day, we honor soldiers who protect our nations. For their service as our warriors, they deserve our admiration. Some of them were drafted, some were volunteers. For some it was just yesterday, for some it's been many years. In jungle or the desert, on land or on sea, they did whatever was assigned to produce a victory. Some came back, some didn't. They defeated us everywhere, defended us everywhere. Some saw combat, some rode a desk. All of them did their share. No matter what the duty, for low pay, little glory, these soldiers gave up normal lives for duties mundane and gory. Let every veteran be honored. Don't let politics get in the way. Without them, freedom would have died. They did what we can't repay. We owe so much to them who kept us safe from terror. So when we see a uniform, let's say thank you to every wearer.
Many people confuse Memorial Day and Veterans Day. Both holidays were established to recognize and honor the men and women who have worn the uniform of the United States Armed Forces. But Memorial Day, which is observed on the last Monday in May, was originally set aside as a day for remembering and honoring military personnel who died in the service of their country, particularly those who died in a battle or as a result of wounds sustained in them. While those who died are also remembered on Veterans Day, which is observed on November 11th, Veterans Day is intended to thank and honor all those who served honorably in the military, in wartime or peacetime. In fact, Veterans Day is largely intended to thank living veterans for their service, to acknowledge that their contributions to our national security are appreciated, and to underscore the fact that all those who served, not only those who died, have sacrificed and done their duty. To ensure the sacrifices of America's fallen heroes are never forgotten, in December 2000, the U.S. Congress passed and the President signed into law the National Moment of Remembrance Act, PL 106-579, creating the White House Commission on the National Moment of Remembrance. The Commission's charter is to encourage the people of the United States to give something back to their country, which provides them so much freedom and opportunity by encouraging and coordinating activities in the United States of Memorial Day and the National Moment of Remembrance. The National Moment of Remembrance encourages all Americans to pause wherever they are at 3 p.m. local time on Memorial Day for a minute of silence to remember and honor those who have died in service to the nation.
To honor our brave veterans, our government has created several memorials and medals highlighting these acts of bravery and heroism. The Medal of Honor is the highest award for valor in action against an enemy force, which can be bestowed upon an individual serving in the armed services of the United States. Generally presented to its recipient by the President of the United States of America in the name of Congress, it is often called the Congressional Medal of Honor. The Purple Heart is an American decoration, the oldest military decoration in the world in present use, and the first American award made available to the common soldier. It was initially created as the badge of military merit by one of the world's most famed and best-loved heroes, General George Washington. Famous war memorials include the National World War II Memorial, the Buffalo Soldier Monument, Gettysburg National Military Park, the Korean War Veterans Memorial, the National Iwo Jima Memorial Monument, Vicksburg National Military Park, the USS Arizona Memorial, and the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. All stand. Thanks to our guests, those who participated, and the students in attendance. Here is Dr. Schneider for further instructions.
Before we dismiss back to classes, let's give one big round of applause for our band, choir, and all. Students and staff, while we have our veterans standing and while we are standing, let's please give them one last big round of applause. That concludes our Veterans Day students at this time. I need you to exit back to your advisory classes. Please do that in an orderly. Veterans, please have a seat. Remain seated to the students' left. Thank you, everyone.